Welcome to CTV News Your Canada. It's Wednesday, June 25th. We'll bring you profiles of fascinating Canadians and stories about your community. Thanks for watching.
It is pure summer energy at Mont Cascade.
Feeling of being alive, you know?
Every twist, turn, and drop of these water slides designed to deliver thrills.
It's like electricity going all the way through your body. Really awesome.
But behind all this fun at the water park, a surprising story of Canadian innovation.
It's all about the line in ski racing, and it's all about the line on the water slides.
Rick Hunter grew up in Ottawa, carving turns as a skier on Canada's national team. Later, his passion and love for the sport shaping his first water slide designs.
You need to have entertainment, you need to have enough speed, but it's amazing the sequence of parts, the gradient of the slides. There was something about skiing that was involved in all of the water ride design and development. And you sweep into a shorter radius.
In 1986, Proslide technology was born. A few years later, Hunter had the chance to purchase Mont Cascade. His sketches and idea took form.
Be global, think local, you know, like this idea about Mont Cascade, it's key. We built the world's first dark mammoth, the 9-foot tunnel. It's up there now. World's first tornado, 24.
Many of the slides here were first of their kind prototypes, which catapulted Proslide onto the world stage. This multi-lane headfirst racer, the first to be made of fiberglass.
It went viral. We sold it to Disney, and then we sold it to all the Six Flags.
Today, Proslide creates some of the most iconic, advanced, and massive water slides on the planet. Made in Canada by a dedicated team of nearly 200 employees and used in water parks in nearly every continent.
Sketched out this morning. So this is for Italy, and loving to be a Canadian, competing in the world, and yes, we can be the best, 100%, and we can do it from our roots.
Which is here at Mont Cascade. Like Proslide, it will be growing.
We're planning quite an aggressive, over the next number of years, an aggressive expansion at Mont Cascade. It's a proud moment.
Kyle Fleming, CTV News.
It's so tall, it's super tall. One Bloor West has just secured its status as Canada's first super tall building, and it's the second tallest man-made structure in the country, next to the CN Tower. Here we go on the ascent, up one elevator, then another, then up another 6 flights of stairs to the big reveal. It's one of the highest places people will live on the land, a vista workers take in on the regular.
This is our corner office. This is what we do every day, and this is it's the best job in the world, I think.
300 meters or 85 stories is a serious climb. The view, absolutely impressive. Looking down is wow and yikes. One Bloor West has been rising for about 12 years. The celebration, reaching its super tall status, comes after a lot of work, from design to construction to setbacks. In 2023, the building went into receivership. Tridel officially took over the project in May.
It feels amazing. It really does, on so many levels. And it's kind of a pun dealing with the height of this building, but it's fun to have some participation in, you know, a super tall building, which up until today didn't exist in Canada.
The building set to have 470 residential units, a 5-star hotel, and retail space is expected to be completed in 2028. While much of the exterior is done, machinery and the inside are still big jobs ahead. For those involved since the beginning of the tower, the milestone is meaningful.
Very gratifying. It's an unbelievable feeling. You sometimes forget about it because you have so many other things to do, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, we did that. It's quite a good feeling.
A time capsule of memorable moments from the building's history was also created for the special occasion. But the skyscraper may not keep its super tall status for too long. A 106-story tower is already being planned to go up at the foot of Yonge Street. Beth Macdonell, CTV News.
Clocking in for their daily duties, a trio of hawks sit nearby overseeing operations. Humans work to compact the trash at the Region of Waterloo landfill, but for these birds of prey, it's more of a supervising role.
We're here at the landfill 3 days a week, 7 hours a day, and we do the Cambridge site as well on just 2 days a week, 7 hours a day. And yeah, the birds all take turns flying, and then we sit on perches when we're not flying.
Their goal, keeping the seagull population at bay.
They were so thick at the tip face that people would bump into them with the cars and vehicles. They're trying to, as the seagulls would jump up and try and get out of the way, the vehicles couldn't drive slow enough to come and go and avoid seagulls. So we had to do something.
Patrolling the area since 2015, Maggie, Honey, and Stella used their agility and wits to outsmart their prey.
They are a natural predator, so their presence does quite a good job.
I've seen them like sneak up, or I've seen them like fly around a parked vehicle to try to catch one and stuff like that. So we're just here to scare them. I'm just here to scare them. The hawks, though, in their mind, they're like, I want to catch those things.
You see it on the Nature Channel all the time, right? And that's very real. It's exactly how you would imagine. It's amazing.
With few seagulls on site, that means a job well done. But come the middle of July until the end of September, it's back to business.
That's when all of the birds that are breeding right now, they bring the young ones to the site. And so those ones haven't yet learned who I am and who my birds are, but they quickly learn that, yes, we are here and we are not leaving.
Rotating their perfect post for the best intimidation possible. With a team made up of 8 birds, including a variety of falcons and hawks, the summer squad is currently hard at work. Harris hawks, also known as wolves of the sky, are native to desert-like environments, making hot days like today the perfect temperature for the birds on duty. The region says having the hawks around is an eco-friendlier option.
The landfill doesn't have a lot of power sources, so we couldn't power any other form of bird control.
Locked in on company time, but also embracing the joys of their gig.
I mean, they're not pets, but they are, I love them. Like, we're partners, they're my co-workers. I spend more time with them than I spend with my family a lot of the times.
Kara Smapp, CTV News, Waterloo.
Two church choirs from California arrived in Cape Breton by cruise ship today as part of a musical missionary tour up the East Coast.
And the message that we're hoping to spread is one of unity, togetherness, in a time where many things are trying to pull people and communities apart.
The American choir members are making a donation to the Cape Breton Victoria Regional Centre for Education towards music education in schools.
We heard about the need specifically for instrumental repair here on the island within the music education system. And so we said that's a place that we would really love to focus on funneling our donations.
I'm just an Alberta boy in Cape Breton Island for the very first time.
As a Canadian living in the United States, Keith Peterson says things like tariffs and the threat of annexation have hit hard, and that the strained relationship between the two countries is a big reason they have come here with a gesture of generosity.
It's been heartbreaking for me to see this rift of relationships that have been developed over 150 years or more.
I think it's an example of all of us rising above what's going on.
The head of the Cape Breton Music Industry Cooperative, which holds events throughout the year to raise money for the next generation of musicians, says this is an example of ordinary Americans separating themselves from any conflict at the government level.
Obviously, we have our opinions on things like that, but at the end of the day, it's people coming together that makes the world a better place and not a worse one.
The donation amount is $1,000, and while that may only go so far, the choir members say it's more about the gesture and the meaning behind it that counts. Tomorrow, the choirs move on to Prince Edward Island, where they sing in Charlottetown. They say they have been treated with nothing but kindness so far on this side of the border, which only further justifies their musical mission.
We wanted to reach out to the Canadian people directly and show them that not all Americans feel like Canada should be a part of the United States.
From California to Cape Breton, it's a message that's heard loud and clear. Ryan McDonald, CTV News, Sydney.
Ifat Shakti gave birth to a baby named Julia on June 5th. It was an uncomplicated delivery, but 7 days later, Shakti suffered a stroke. Doctors performed brain surgery, but she still hasn't woken up.
She's under a lot of sedation and a lot of medicine to keep her like paralyzed pretty much.
Her husband, Marco Martel, says her medical team believes high blood pressure led to a rare complication postpartum. His 28-year-old wife remains in the intensive care unit at the Foothills Hospital. Most of her family is in her home country, Bangladesh. Martel cannot work and cares for their 3-year-old and 1-year-old boys and a newborn.
Sometimes the neurological test is good, other times it's bad.
He set up a GoFundMe page to help the family get by as they wait for the medical team to update them.
We don't even know what quality of life she will have. Like, she might just not be able to even walk or talk.
The Heart and Stroke Foundation says women are at higher risk of stroke in pregnancy, birth, and postpartum.
The average rate of stroke in pregnancy is less than 1%, in fact, less than 0.1%. However, what we see is it's much more common in people who've had high blood pressure during pregnancy.
She says blood pressure readings are crucial immediately after delivery. However, the risk can continue later in life.
We know we need to do better at a health system level to have programs to better support home blood pressure monitoring for patients.
Martel doesn't want any other family to go through what he's going through.
But no matter what, because I'm her husband, even if she comes as a vegetable or whatever the situation is, I'm going to still keep her alive and be by her side and make sure that she at least get to see her kids grow.
Stephanie Thomas, CTV.
And make us less likely to judge those who walk the path less traveled.
Zoe McKay's rehearsing a speech she never thought she'd write. She's valedictorian for the Winnipeg Adult Education Center's class of 2025.
I think I would have probably laughed if you told me this would happen at some point. I am kind of in disbelief. It's really exciting.
It's a big change for the 28-year-old who dropped out of high school more than a decade ago.
I wasn't able to make that a priority at the time, which was always a huge regret of mine.
McKay is among the 150 or so mature students who will cross this stage Thursday to receive their diploma.
It's important here in Canada also. It opens everything. While you want to go for university, college, or you want to work.
Many of the grads-to-be are new to Canada after fleeing war-torn countries like Eritrea and Ukraine.
I had to upgrade my credits to learn English, to become more fluent in English, and also to finish my grade 12 courses to be able to enter the university.
The school's principal says adult learners may come from different backgrounds and circumstances.
Talk about complicated lives. So a lot of our students have children. They work full time.
But Dino Di Fabrizio adds these students all share a common goal.
They come in with such great intentions on what they could potentially do, and it's inspirational watching them make this walk and take this journey.
And they have some advice for people who haven't started that journey yet.
After you take the first step, and then the other steps will just continue by themselves. So just take the first step.
Don't be scared of change. Change can give you the ability to transform your circumstances and take agency over your path going forward. Just jump into the great unknown and see what happens.
Daniel Halmerson, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Do you have no cooling?
A familiar line Monday as the current heat wave gripped the region. People reaching out to heating and cooling companies across the city. Fairholt Mechanical operators fielded 70-plus calls. A regular day sees 20-plus.
Some people are even telling us that the unit was smoking, something's happening, we need some help right away.
I've been doing this for a long time and nothing changes. Heat comes on, phones are ringing.
I can get you service for tomorrow morning.
Home comfort technologist Dennis Pelche checked in on the owner of this house on the East End, who heard her unit making noise Monday before calling to have the 31-year-old machine replaced.
Our service guy came out last night, took a look at it, found that it was leaking.
Pelche says many of their calls are for low freon, which may have been caused from units working too hard.
I could have got overpressured with this heat. The pressures go up, and the pressures inside, it can spring a leak anywhere. Rust, age, a combination.
We get a little bit of mold and dirt, a lot of oxidization going on here. This is normally from hairsprays and what have you, detergents.
The machine was swapped out this morning. To avoid overtaxing your machine, close your blinds to keep the sun out, minimize oven use, and keep humidity in check by not taking too many showers. Pelche says the aim on a day like today should be 74 to 78 degrees in the house.
That's what this is, a dehumidifier. So once you get that humidity out of there, 78 feels comfortable. It's getting that humidity down. That's what it's all about.
If you are sticky, then the unit may be low on Freon or the filter may need changing.
Wash your condenser out, do those little maintenance stuff, and in the long run it'll help you out.
Just don't have your unit looking like these, or you could be making a phone call to a heating and cooling agent sooner than expected.
Never power wash your air conditioner, just a hose, or I recommend just a light broom. You can just take the broom and sweep it, then wash it, you're better off.
Well, I don't know about you, but today's assignment was definitely an eye-opener for me, so I'll be checking my unit for sure tonight. So, maintenance, make sure it's clean, broom it down, water it down, but definitely no power washing. Check. Good advice right there, eh, Ricardo? Back over to you.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got to just clean that filter out regularly. Bob, thank you for that. That's CTV's Bob Lachico tonight.
I haven't been in the gym in 3 months. Like, the steps I was putting in while I was here was insane.
Melanie Sear is a longtime server, but this was her first time working near the arena during playoffs.
So there's some days some girls work 10, 12 hours. It was crazy. We didn't stop. If you look at our schedule now compared to during the playoffs, it's like in half.
Game days and watch parties drew upwards of 30,000 people downtown, according to data just released by Explore Edmonton. $266 million was shot into the city's economy during this year's playoff run, including 80,000 overnight hotel stays.
From bartenders to Uber drivers to maintenance staff in the hotels to the people who are working at the arena itself, there's a huge ripple impact across the entire downtown, but also across the whole city.
There were 3 fewer games during the 4 rounds compared to last year's playoffs, which saw $280 million generated.
I get a little worried that we're dependent on it now because it's just so positive. If we can have that every spring, it completely transforms the way people think about our city and our downtown, the way, businesses think about their outlook for a year.
Our work didn't just focus on the playoff run itself, but on taking that momentum and driving it forward. We used this as a really big opportunity, for example, to highlight why Lonely Planet named Edmonton one of the top 10 cities to visit in 2025.
Sear says Kelly's Pub is like a pit stop for downtown events and isn't too worried about the hockey off-season.
We're like the players at the end of the day. We're done. We're tired. Time for a little recuperation for next season,
For now, she's enjoying the slightly slower pace. Amanda Anderson, CTV News, Edmonton.
A Métis elder and Michif language keeper from Saskatchewan is being commemorated with a Canada Post stamp.
She kept us all together. She taught us so many things. It's hard to believe that she's being honored today, but she's well deserved of it. She worked hard all her life.
Sophie McDougall, who passed away in 2023, was a teacher from St. Louis, dedicating her life to sharing her knowledge of cultures and language with others.
I worked alongside with my mom translating books and stuff, so I know how to speak it. I understand it, but I don't speak it as well as she did.
McDougall was an elder with the Prince Albert Métis Women's Association for 20 years and translated books and written materials into Michif while engaging in other projects to preserve the language, which is endangered.
Working with Sophie was such an honor. She took immense pride in these books, which were beautifully illustrated by local youth, and she was proud to share them with young people throughout Prince Albert and beyond.
The stamp was issued June 20th, along with 2 other stamps honoring Indigenous leaders.
These honorees are widely loved, respected, and admired in their communities across the country. The Métis National Council selected Sophie for the latest stamp, and Canada Post is honored to tell her story.
We all agree she was a woman of strength, she was a woman of wisdom, and she was a woman to be remembered. Her legacy lives on through her family, and her contributions to our language preservation will continue to inspire future generations.
For Indigenous Circle, I'm Jasmine Pelche.
The symbol for Franco-Ontarians is hoisted by dignitaries outside the Jerry McCrory Countryside Sports Complex to help mark St. Jean-Baptiste Day in Greater Sudbury, the birthplace of the flag.
It's an opportunity to get together, certainly
to showcase certainly the importance of the culture in our community, but also maybe having open a conversation to realize, the involvement as well as the contributions of the Francophone community in our great city.
Saint Jean-Baptiste Day is a national holiday in Quebec, but Francophones across the country also celebrate the patron saint, including in Northern Ontario. It's about honoring culture, heritage, traditions, and the French language.
Most Franco-Ontarians in Sudbury are bilingual and will switch to English whenever it's appropriate. But at the same time, we keep this deep down cultural pride that we belong to this culture. We made our community better because of our culture, and we want it to continue.
Roughly 1/3 of the population in Greater Sudbury identifies as Francophone.
35% of the population says that they can keep a conversation in French. That means 35% of the population speaks French. Those that identify as Franco-Ontarian, as first language, etc., we're down around 25%.
The green and white flag was first flown in Sudbury on September 25th, 1975, but it wasn't recognized as the emblem for the Franco-Ontarian community until 2001. Despite that difference, plans are in the works to celebrate that 50-year milestone this fall. Angela Gemmell, CTV News, Sudbury.
The genius of Canada's most produced playwright is once again being presented at the theatre in Collingwood. Norm Foster's production of On a First-Name Basis. Emily Oriold and James E. Williams, recognized by many as two of Canada's finest professional actors, bring this hilarious story to life about discovery, secrets, and intrigue in relationships, and perhaps a little bit of mystery and exasperation that some can very much relate to.
This play is incredibly relatable and speaks to something that a lot of us have in our own lives, where we live with people, sometimes for years, sometimes for decades, and can realize after all that time that we don't really know them.
She found herself in the family way. What? Did she look down one day and say, "Whoa, I'm knocked up"?
On a First-Name Basis opens tonight at the Marsh Street Centre in Clarksburg, running for 5 shows through June 26th.
Well, Bill Dancer searches for anything unusual during his hikes, from fungus to flowers. He sometimes finds the unexpected.
We found mostly cell phones,
which he and the members of the eccentric hikers group easily return. But this glasses case was a first.
The content was definitely unusual.
One of the eccentrics hiking that day found it contained a pair of rings and war memorabilia.
I have every respect for the military.
Bill grew up in England during the Second World War and remembers a bomb exploding near his school.
And all we heard was big bang and the ceiling came down.
So Bill knew these personal items would be priceless.
It's obviously been subject to someone.
So Bill volunteered to take it to the local police station, where Constable Marcus Anastasiadis began investigating.
I wasn't going to let it go. I was very determined to find out who this was.
After noticing a bracelet featuring a barely legible last name and regimental number, Marcus found an obituary for a Lieutenant Arthur Goff, which led to reconnecting the items with the soldier's son.
That means quite a bit to us.
Jim Goff doesn't know how these items went missing during his sister's recent move, but he has no doubt his dad served at Juno Beach on D-Day.
It was one of those times of his life, I think, that he wanted to forget.
And because he barely spoke of it, these are enduring reminders of his dad's long life of distinguished service.
Quite proud of him, actually.
And Bill is grateful for all the people whose sacrifices led to the end of the war, which he remembers celebrating as a boy by racing to the local sweet shop on VE Day.
Buying as many sweets as I could, and the lady behind the counter not being too impressed.
After years of sugar rationing, it was the best candy ever.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And the best thing for Jim, why he's so grateful to the eccentric's thoughtfulness and Marcus's diligence, is having these rings returned.
Because my mom did give that to my dad just before they were married in '42.
While these pins and badges are reminders of Arthur's accomplishments during conflict, it's only the rings from his wife Olive that's a reminder of what they were actually fighting for. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Saanich.